nature when it comes to men. And then, frankly, often the men who push every button. They push our buttons.
What are you talking about? We're just having sex.
No. I don't know. I think some of the time it's cognizant. I think some of the time the guys know what they're doing, and then other times
there's no guys that know what they're doing.
You
give us way too much credit already. I don't even know what you're talking about.
So? Really?
I don't even know what you're referring to, Jenny, and I already know you're giving us too much credit.
Okay, this is what I'm referring to. Here we have Jody and Travis, who had an on-again, off-again relationship. And when they initially broke it off, I think it was broken up. But then, because she kept coming at him, he took her back in, and he opened the door, and he made it seem
No games.
Like there was,
here's the game he was playing. Oh, the sex was good. I got to do that again. I can't stop. That's not a game. That's like saying somebody plays a game with chocolate almonds that I'm worried about, that Corolla keeps out here that I want to go eat.
So in other words, he liked Jody, not realizing that she was as off the wall as she is.
Yes.
And so as he's thinking, oh, the sex is good, she's a nut job. However, I like having sex with her. He then got killed. Look, I don't think that's the way it should have been, obviously. And she goes above and beyond what a normal, rational, crazy girl does.
Well, but hang on, though. You said, though, it's his fault. Like, he was working her, pushing her buttons. He was just thinking, oh, sex was good.
I don't know that it's just sex was good, because he knew that she was much more engaged or involved with him.
And that's all.
With her.
And so here's what guys do. They go, oh, my God, I shouldn't do this. It's going to hurt her feelings. And then
they go, but I want to.
Right. That's not pushing buttons. That's them being unable to contain their impulses.
But don't you think there has to be some sort of responsibility?
Oh, no,
and
absolutely. No. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's okay.
Yeah.
But women talk about it as though men are like playing some sort of game or on a dance with the.
But sometimes they are.
No.
Sometimes they say the right thing.
Yeah, to have sex.
It's the right thing. And again, let me just clarify, Dr. Drew, that I don't think that Travis deserved what happened to him. I know.
We're sort of using Travis as a springboard into conversations about men and women. And by the way, you don't have to worry so much about getting attacked here by the
I live in fear at this point.
Yeah, we in HLN, you say anything in any way just thoughtful. Just try to look at what was that relationship like, or Jody, I bet she feels bad, or I wonder if Travis had any complicity here. The pitchforks and the torches come out immediately, so you can't. But here it's podcast. We got the Corolla audience. They're a little more thoughtful, a little more reasonable. So we can talk about
this is what I think with men. This is what I think, and with women. I think that women overanalyze every dynamic of every relationship.
No, that's been proven. The women are, and we see it on brain scans, and we see it when we study their thinking. They're always analyzing thinking and overthinking everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you think men, it looks like a duck, it is a duck, and that's that?
Listen, women are the flight deck of a 747, and each plane is different. Men are a hamster in a wheel. Period. Gentlemen, I've got two guys sitting across the window from me laughing their ass off. Give me the okay sign.
Explain to me.
Hang on again. Hold on, Gary. Is there anything? Here's what's going on in that guy's mind, except I want to. It's like wanting to eat. I want to have sex. I want to eat. It's the same exact impulse. Yes.
Then explain to me. Explain to me the on again, off again relationship. Explain to me why the guy comes back for more with the most unrelenting, insufferable woman.
Not working out elsewhere.
Well, that right. He can't get anything else, or that sex was really good.
That's just nuts.
That's just men.
Maybe so, but that's the reality.
No, that's
you know
what.
Was sex.
And to be fair, how old are you guys? How old are you, Gary?
28.
And how old are you?
Oh, they're
27.
27. Yeah, they are babies, but that's what I was going to say. Under 30, the men should be locked up. They're dangerous. They are under the influence of a drug. The drug is testosterone, and that's now you are a woman, a grown woman, and you're talking about men going, how could this be possible? Because I deal with men, and it's not like that. And you're right. When you hit past 30, men start becoming humans again and start engaging in relationships. But really, the vast majority of men, not all. By the way, I have faith. The younger guys than you all are more sort of. I don't know. They seem less sexually preoccupied. There's a lot of that sexual preoccupation, but there's also an ability to have relationships and to take other people's point of view in a way I'm not accustomed to seeing in 18 to 25-year-olds. I'm seeing a little more of that these days.
Well, if you really believe that women are just misreading the signs or creating signs that don't exist, then that's a bigger issue all around. Because
Jenny, you and I was on your radio. I first met you on your radio show, 10 years ago, 8 years ago?
No, I don't even know.
No, I can't. That was my second time on. You keep talking about it. I think I was on once before that, a long time ago.
With Alexis?
No, maybe it was 6 years ago.
I don't know.
Well, it feels
I
like
was with Alexis for a lot of years, and then I was by myself.
When did you had just started by yourself? When did that start?
That was only a year and a half ago. Pretty recent.
What? That was the first time.
Yes, and you were there. Yes,
wow,
you were in my studio talking about Maxima.
Right. I felt like we had known each other from like 3 or 4 years
yes,
before that.
we immediately got along.
Okay. But we had this conversation then, and I tried to straighten you out.
Yes, we did, because I don't believe it. I really think.
You know why you don't believe it?
Listen, I know too many women who are very smart, very educated, who have spent lives just being troubled over guys because they misread, misunderstood, they couldn't get it right, etc., going back for more. It's ugly.
Men are so simple.
So then I guess the question is, how do you tell women to deal with them? Because that should be your next book, Dr. Drew.
Well, I've been preaching, and I did a radio show for 30 years where I preached this.
I know, love lines, but there's got to be a book. There's got to be like a manual.
Let's do it together. We'll write it together. That's fine.
That's fine. I would like
we can publish it. We can put it right out here on DrDrew.com. We can e-book it, and we'll do it.
I think we should.
All right, let's do it.
There's really got to be a message to women.
Done. That's what we'll call it. A love letter to women. Message to women.
Okay, I like that plan.
But here's my feeling about it. I believe that the resistance comes from 2 places. One is it's so different than how your guys' brains work, and it's like hard to get your head around that kind of unidimensional kind of thinking, because you guys think in many dimensions at once, and we don't. We think linear, and our body and our motivation is all very linear and kill, eat, reproduce. It's very very simple kinds of stuff. Again, until 30. We re-enter humanity at 30. I don't want to. This is not to disparage men or bash men by any means. It's just a fact, just how we were. But the other thing is, on some level, I think, and I don't know this because I'm not a woman, but my guess is, women they start to deal with this. They start to look at it realistically, and then it occurs to them, well, Dad's a man. Oh no. He couldn't have been.
I never even thought like that.
He can't be. He couldn't be. That's too... Okay, we're not going there. So now I'm back to thinking, what could he be thinking? What could he be dreaming? Oh, he's not like me.
Interesting. I don't think of it like... I never thought of my father as anything more than, thaingfully, more than my dad.
But I think it's so deep and so profound that's what keeps you from going there.
But I think it would change my life if I could just look at men the way you're saying they really are. But
listen. Well, first of all, you have a great.
Here's a conflict. How do men then love forever?
Well, first of all, they pass the age of 30. they make it successfully past the age of 30.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and then they re-engage like everybody else does. They be able to have listen. And by the way, you have a fantastic husband. I love him.
My husband's such a good guy.
Yeah, and so clearly you figured it out, right? So don't tell me you didn't figure it out. You did. But
no, I did figure it out for me, but it took a lot. Listen, it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of getting outside myself. Actually,
and kissing some frogs.
Yeah, I mean, I look back on that year, and it was the 1 year of my life that I took antidepressants, and I say to my husband, I'm a bait and switch.
You got a good one in return?
No, meaning like I was the bait and switch, the poor guy, because I was on 20 milligrams of Prozac for 12 months of my life at age 25.
That makes you not want to have sex.
No, I wanted to have sex. Thankfully, it didn't hurt my sex drive, but I wasn't nutty. I wasn't like worried when he was going to call. I wasn't obsessive.
Then
I
you
was
got nutty.
cool.
Then you got nutty.
Yeah, it was like divine intervention mixed with Prozac.
Okay, wait, I wanted to answer an important question. What was it before we got to your husband and how we got to make women understand this and how do men re-engage? Oh, shoot.
How do you know that he loves you? How do they the way? Yeah.
So men have to be, I think men need to be invested in a visceral way in their female partners. There has to be some passionate something that, and women need this too. I mean, this shouldn't be a surprise. Yeah. But men, they got to have that. They got to have that, and it's got to be there. And they also have to have sort of done their business. You know what I mean? They have to finish screwing around or whatever they needed to do. They really have to be in a certain place in their life. And women do a lot of worrying about how do I become that person? How do I become that person? No, it's much more important that you get the guy at the right time. Mm-hmm. Because he must know who he is in the world. He must have his career sort of set in his head at least. He must feel like he can, he understands himself in the world. Like he's. Well,
but do you think that then will stave off the midlife crisis that many men go through?
Absolutely, it will. Absolutely. If men screw around enough when they're younger and wait until they understand who they are in the world, so they Because men will go, well, geez, now I've got money and just prestige, and I could date that girl that I always wanted.
Oh, you mean have sex with enough girls? I do believe that. I do believe that you have to be with a guy.
But I don't mean it's not even as simple as having sex with enough girls. For some guys it is that, but it's more about I've done what I need to do, so it doesn't bother me 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't keep thinking, well, God, why didn't I do that? Or I got money and position, I could do that, and God, it's got to be out of your system. It's got to be done. And that's important. I think that's important.
I think that is important. But you believe that they attach and they love in the same way ultimately that women can.
100%. It's just you. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you, which is that there's a very famous biological anthropologist at Rutgers University. His name is Lionel Tiger. I think he wrote a book called The Descent of Man or something. Not The Descent of Man.
I want to know if the scent of the man is before or after he showered.
No, Descent of Man is by Darwin. This is like it's basically meant the sort of the peripheralization of man. With Lionel Tiger, what's it called?
The Decline of Man.
Decline of Man. Decline of the Man.
Very different. All right.
Yeah, Descent of Man. Decline of the Male. And I had a great chance to talk to him one time on a television program. And in fact, we need to get him in here. He's so old now, but try to book him for the podcast. He'd be fascinating to talk to. And he said the one generalization he could categorically make about men and women after a lifetime of studying biological anthropology is that throughout human history, women have tamed men. Throughout human history, women have tamed men. Meaning, and I knew exactly what he meant, that you women are a better version of the human being, and you bring us into our humanity. You get us past that testosterone-driven aggression, sexual, ridiculous acting out, back to ourself,
Go ahead. Don't you think it's sort of an evolutionary thing?
Of course,
sort of a necessity thing. Yeah.
Well, everything is. I mean, what's the evolutionary necessity? Form a stable family unit, so you can successfully raise children, in a healthy, productive way. And that's the evolutionary. It's called this developed in what's called the environment of evolutionary adaptiveness, the EEA. And that's how we evolved. That's what we got now, and we should not be resisting or trying to change. We should not succumb to our biology, but we should.
Right. Well, there, right there. What you're saying right there is part of the big issue, though, because if men are wired to just essentially say yes when their body tells them to.
No, men are wired with uncontrollable drives. Unmanageable. In fact, Jenny, the one thing I love is when I talk to female to male transsexuals, like Chastity Bono, Chaz Bono.
Yes, yes.
The one thing they will tell you is that as soon as they get on the high levels of testosterone, the male levels of testosterone, they immediately, I've talked to dozens of them that tell me the same thing, they immediately become sympathetic with men. They literally will go.
They understand.
They go, oh my God, you've been dealing with this? This is what you feel like every day? Holy crap! And then you go, yeah, since I was 13. How'd you like to deal with this as a 13-year-old? They're like, oh my God, how do you survive?
Okay.
How do you deal with that?
I'm going to give you another example of the game playing that you say doesn't exist on the male side.
Okay.
Okay. So the guy and the girl, they break up.
Yep.
It is over. It is done with.
Yep.
3 months later, and the guy has broke up with the girl. 3 months later, why is the guy calling the girl again and saying exactly what she needs to hear?
Gentlemen, do you hear what she asked? There's a 3-letter word.
Sex. But that's a game. He knows what he's doing. He's calculated it. He knows if he says the right thing, she'll agree to it.
No, that's literally like saying he's playing a game with Taco Bell when he waits in line. He knows.
I have a Dorito
he
taco?
knows that if he waits in line at the Taco Bell, eventually he's going to get a burrito. And so if you don't know that's what he's doing, that's on you. If you don't want to serve him the Dorito,
this is great advice. We have to write this book. It's going to save. It'll save my adorable, almost 13-year-old daughter years of pain.
There's no sense in trying to deprogram young guys.
Like you can't.
The young girls. It's your only shot.
The only chance. Yeah, the only chance.
I
getting
don't
the girls.
want to deprogram the men. I want to teach the girls. I want to help the girls.
Yeah. So the guy is now. To be fair, with there's nuances to this because within those guys that are so driven and whatnot, there is a group of love addicted guys. They're guys that are abandoned and wounded and stuff. And they're still in that same motivational state, but once they get in with the girl, they get in too deep and they get clingy and they can't let go. Now,
that's gross. By the way, that's so unappealing.
But by the way,
so many
that's
levels.
the one guy you should stick with. That's the only guy that you should be around when you're a young woman.
The guy that you should be around.
No, every other guy is full of shit.
Hold on.
Now, I'm not saying the guy is good for you because he's got love addiction and stuff too. But I'm just saying that's the only guy that won't be motivated by other things. Anybody disagree with me, gentlemen? To the little panel here.
No, we're full of shit.
No. Hold on a minute. I think somewhere between the guy who loves you forever and is devoted and in love with loving you and loves you, and the guy who's like so whipped it's gross and annoying is where we want to be.
No, of course.
I don't want to be with a guy who I don't know what kind of language you use on this show.
Any kind.
Huh?
All
I don't want
kinds.
a guy who's a pussy.
Yeah. Oh, you can't say pussy on this show, Jenny. How dare you? No, of course you use any language.
I don't want that. I want a strong guy.
Yeah,
I want
understand
a strong
that.
guy.
But what I'm telling you is, and by the way, I was kind of that love addicted teenager, by the way, and they grow up to be okay. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that it was a good thing to be around me when I should have been locked up too.
Right, you figured it out, right?
Well, I should have been locked up too when I was 30. But they're the only guys that aren't solely motivated by the testosterone.
Okay.
The
because
rest of them,
they have more substance.
No, they don't have more substance. They're wounded. They're wounded, but you guys don't like to be around wounded guys, particularly when you're younger.
No, right. I want to be around a guy who has an emotional life, though. I couldn't have ended up with
then you
somebody
better stop.
who felt nothing.
Then look, the guy has to be over 30. Has to be.
Right. Well, my husband and I got married. He was 30.
Okay, perfect.
But we met. He was 28 and a half. 28.
And again, a lot of this is polemic.
We're generalizing.
We're sweeping generalizations and stuff.
Of course.
But these are notions that people sort of don't get. Even you don't get.
So, but now you're clearing it up because what you're saying is that Jody getting crazy over Travis Alexander was a useless waste of her time because he wasn't, and also misguided because he wasn't purposely trying to make her nuts. He just made her nuts because the sex was good.
Here's the worst part of it. And this is the part that makes guys not be able to look away. And this is what makes Kobe Bryant call me to talk about Jodi Arias, which is the guy thinks, by the way, we've been exchanging all stuff again. My staff's very excited about that.
It's exciting.
He's healing fine, by the way. He's doing good.
Good.
We as the guy think, now we start thinking like that she must be thinking like us. She seemed so into the sex, she must be coming back for the sex the way I am. You understand? It's
an ego boost. Of
no,
course.
Forget the ego boost. He thinks she's really into it, that she can't resist.
Yes,
forget the fact
and that's an ego boost for him.
Well, of course.
He
that's
feels
why
great about it. He feels like big man on campus.
Yeah, forget big man on campus. You're missing the point. He never occurs to him that she's experiencing something different. He thinks she's lined up in Taco Bell too.
Oh, see, and I look at it differently. I look at it like he feels so good about himself.
Well, he does. That's part of it too. He's like, hey, it's me, man. Of course she's like that. But I've got the burritos. So let's line up. Let's line up, everybody.
So he thinks it's really a consensual relationship, even on a mental level.
Motivated out of the same drive for sex, because you listen to her sex tapes. That's why all the guys are like, "Holy shit, she wasn't." That's her not into it. My God!
I thought those sex tapes were incredibly lame. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, they were not. Yeah, they were not great, but they both are kind of lame. But they were lame in the same way, which was interesting.
Right? They were immature.
Yeah,
they seem like kids.
But
it's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. But that's the point. The guys listen to that, going, "Oh yeah, she wants it. She's speaking as though that crazy stuff is really turning her on, and it really isn't.
Right.
How does that work?
Right. He didn't know that. Right.
So guys are the yuggity is right there for men.
Okay. So how about this part though? Because I know that you've seen this before, certainly in your line of work and doing love lines, and in being a medical doctor, and in just dealing with as many people as you've dealt with. Why is it then that when the relationship breaks up, very often we see the girl go crazy? This isn't the first story. It's not typical that she kills, but it's not the first story or not atypical for a girl to get nutty and think, oh, my God, he doesn't want to go out with me anymore. I'm going to get him to go out with me again. I'm not taking no for an answer. That's a very female response.
This is what I want to talk about. When men do it, it's because they're love addicted. They can't let go. They're pussies. I don't know why women do it. Why do women do it? And by the way, and this is the other thing I want to talk about, is why is rage tied up in it? Because men when they don't
get angry.
Because when men are left behind, they get hurt. They don't get angry. Angry is like, I can't even. Angry is like, huh? Why are you angry? you fucked up or she doesn't like you anymore, that hurts. That's not anger. Is that just pain causing anger, or what is that?
Well, Dr. Drew, I think that anger is usually the top level of the sadness. I think the anger comes first because the pain of the sadness is so big that very often, I guess the woman can't handle the feeling that's so icky underneath, that's so brutal underneath. And the rage makes us not have to look at the real sad part of it or what makes us sad about it. If he doesn't want me anymore, then either there's something wrong with me or there's something wrong with him. And I'm going to make it that there's something wrong with him, because having to feel like there's something wrong with me is too much to take. Now, it shouldn't be any of that.
There is something wrong with him. He's not into you anymore.
Exactly.
What's wrong with that?
Right, it's ridiculous. But the healthy mind, but it comes from insecurity. It comes from I don't want to deal with the fact that he doesn't want me anymore.
So why don't men get rage?
Sometimes they do. Men have been known to kill women. But I think
they want to kill if one of her planes has been violated by another man.
Yes, that's not okay.
That's when they want to kill.
Yes,
before
that is not.
Yeah, they don't want to. They feel bad. They get crazy and they lurk and they can stalk and things like that. But
they feel sad inside, but they don't get rageful like we do. It's a. I've seen it time and time again. I mean, in my 20s, I remember being I can recall it like it was yesterday. It was awful. It was awful.
Why the rage? Rage sounds better than the sadness we deal with.
Why rage? I've not really deconstructed the rage, other than I think there's a spoiled nature to it. I think there's probably an immaturity.
Is that why everyone's so mad at Jodi Arias? Because she took that rage and acted it out?
Yeah, well, I think that's part of it, because it's inconceivable that someone would do that. I mean, the way
Forget what she did. Forget what she did. That she became violent with her rage.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, well, that angers me, because that's so not. I think most women have experienced rageful moments in their lives, whether it's with a romantic relationship, with their children, and there seems to be this very fine line between those who act out and those who don't. We've all had the feelings like our kids make us go ballistic. They make us insane. But we don't hurt our children.
But you
walk out of the room. You call your spouse.
About it.
You call your best friend.
Well, people fantasize about it, and kids do get abused.
Which is sick and twisted and awful. So I could never.
Okay, we got to take a break.
I can't even
hold that
think
thought.
Of that.
Got to take a quick break. Jenny Hutt, at Jenny Hutt is the website, is the Twitter handle, by the way. Weekdays 6 to 7 Pacific, 9 to 10 Eastern, Channel 106, Sirius XM Radio. Be right back with Jenny.